here if they come in.
Okay.
Okay, so we are now live. Oh, so how you been?
I've been okay, trying to, but I have been really trying hard to get back into meditation and all that good stuff I started over the summer, and I just can't get back there.
Oh
I
no.
know, but since it's January, that's part of my, and I hate saying New Year's resolution, but yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm really going to try to get back to that because it just seemed like there was just too many distractions. Distractions,
Yeah, yeah.
from the
I
outside.
know. Well, I know. Ever since we had our last meeting, Venita and I kind of just fell apart.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah. Well, just our health. Just we're both anxious to get back to tonight.
Well, that's good. So am I, because I started. I'm gonna say it.
Yeah.
I started reading the book today, which is terrible.
Huh?
I said I just started reading the book today, which I know is terrible.
Oh no.
I was on the bedside stand. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna read it today. No, and then I get distracted and do 10 other things, and I'm like, I'm gonna read it today.
It's a hard book to kind of do at the last minute kind of thing.
Yeah, I see. I'm gonna have to buckle down.
Randy,
Hi.
hi. We missed you. We are live.
Okay.
I don't see any viewers on YouTube, but I like to open at 6:30 just in case. Get distracted. People at least hear us doing our chit chat. So, and uh, I was just saying I'm kind of coming down with a cold, so you may see me doing.
I see. I was about to ask you if you look swollen. Yeah, I thought you were having a
Yeah.
reaction.
No, the last 24 hours I've been catching a cold.
Mm.
So my eyes are red, my nose is swollen.
Sorry.
Did you get an email I just sent you?
I did.
Okay. Can you
Yeah.
read that when the time comes?
Mhm.
Great.
Welcome to this.
Great.
January 20th until June 2nd.
Yeah. So I was just telling Georgette, Venita and I both kind of have been under the weather. Um, on and off. It started when we ended the last session. It's like we just fell apart.
Really? Since December?
Yeah, she had one of her lupus attacks, and I don't know. I just uh, well, I started taking a new medicine, and so that kind of had me really groggy, and so I've gotten a lot of things done, but it wasn't quite the productive period I hoped, you know, it would be. Uh, but it's good. A lot of good things are happening, so I'm happy.
Good.
I'm happy for you too. Now,
Thank
what have you been
you.
doing, Randy? Randy, what have you been doing? What have you been up to?
I have been working. For a time, I was working two jobs. I don't know if Anita told you, Michelle. She probably did. But for Harriet had asked me to come back and write for hire. So
Oh
I
no,
would
I didn't
leave
hear
work.
that.
So I would leave work from. So all the posts that she was sharing, those are the ones I was actually getting paid for.
All right.
Good, good.
Yeah, it was crazy. I would work from 8 to 5 at my job, and for the past 2 weeks we've been working from 8 to 7. So I work from 8 to 7, get home, try to eat something real quick, and work from whenever I got home till 1. and then go to sleep and do it again. But
Till 1 in the morning?
yeah, to get the post up.
Wow.
Wow.
Sometimes I do like 5 posts a day, but she sent me an email Friday and told me she couldn't afford me.
Oh no!
So,
No.
And
that's
that's
not
one
funny.
job you were happy to lose?
But I mean, I loved it. I really did. To be paid for something I went to school for, but
Yeah.
it's
Oh.
fine. Something else will come on.
Let me just say too, we have one viewer now. That it is 6:35. We're gonna wait maybe a couple of more minutes or 5 more minutes to see if Venita gets here. She told me she's definitely going to be here tonight, but I know she had to run an errand, so she might be late. But let's give her a few more minutes, and then we'll get started. So, Georgette, what have you been up to?
Uh, besides trying to work on this long New Year's resolution that I put for myself. um,
Yeah.
let's see. I finished um, my last 2 classes at one college that was taking a lot of money unnecessarily, and I think I'm getting ready to enroll in a another college that's just doing computer stuff, web
Mhm.
design. I got
Mhm.
taught that. So
Talked into it.
yeah, I got sort of uh, not really employment, but a help me kind of thing dangled in front of my face. And since I'm a sucker for for helping people,
Mhm. Mhm.
so that's kind of what I'm working on.
Cool. Have you heard anything from Joel?
Yeah, he said he was going to try to be here this evening. I know he said he had some things to wrap up, some work stuff he was doing. So,
Okay. Um,
what about Labib?
you know, I have not heard from him. I'm not sure if he RSVP'd or not. Um, I know several other people did RSVP, but we know not to put too much stock in that. Um, but yeah, I did. I don't know about tonight, but I am expecting Labib to join us during this session. He said he's already been reading the book.
All right, that's good.
So, yeah. So, okay. It looks like there are a couple of people. Let me just check Facebook and make sure Venita's not sending me any SOSs. Okay, I don't see anything. So, Randy, why don't we go ahead and get started?
Okay.
And I wanted Randie to read the welcome because she does it so well and
Do it.
so good.
Oh.
And I want to have her face reading the welcome is something that I can attach to all of our videos for this session. So
Oh.
um, let me put the camera on you.
Oh God.
And when you're ready, we're on.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Session 3 of the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. My name is Randie Henderson, and I am one of the Black Feminist Reading Circle members of this online group. This session runs from January 20th until June 2nd and includes 2 week-long breaks. Our democratically selected reading material is Harriet A. Washington's book, Medical Apartheid, The Dark History of Medical Experimentation on Black Americans from Colonial Times to the Present. Our book group meets each Tuesday evening from 6:30 to 8 on the Google Plus Hangouts on Air platform. You may find the Global Black Feminist Reader Circle on Google Plus, YouTube, and Facebook, and always feel free to join us in reading our story together.
Thank you. I love those earrings.
Thank you. They were a gift from Mikey's sister for Christmas.
Oh, okay. Okay. I just saw somebody commenting, but I can't. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't deal with it now. Um, there was someone that commented in the Facebook on the Facebook event page. Um, Lorraine saying she was trying to figure out how to get hooked in, and that was around 5:30, and I had offered to try to walk her through it at that point, but she's just getting back to me. And so if you're out there, Lorraine, I apologize. I really can't get into it right now, but we can definitely set up a time, and I can help you figure it out. It's more complicated than I would like to get set up with Google Hangouts, but once you're set up, it's really a easy process of finding the link. How'd you all do getting in tonight? Were there any problems?
It was easy. I followed the last link you put, not the the 548 one. I think it's the
Right.
one that worked, the newest one, and it just brought me right in.
Yeah, yeah. I actually opened the Hangout about 5:30 tonight because um, it's just been so long, and I kind of felt like I didn't know if I was going to have technical problems or not, but I felt like I might need to kind of relearn the process. But this has gone smoothly. The other planning and prep up to this has not been so smooth. Um, I'm not really very proud of my notes tonight. I kind of just threw them together. Kim is joining us. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
Hey, Kim.
And yeah, I kind of threw the notes together, and so uh, we can feel free to discard and do something different or have our own questions. Here's Venita, um, or whatever, but I was struggling to get them done, and I mean, the good news is I started a new part-time job, and so
Oh,
that's a part of my problem.
Oh,
Yeah. You
that's
know how
good,
jobs
Michelle.
you know how jobs are an interruption to my real life. and and in fact I'm in that space right now. Um so good things have been happening, but it was more of a challenge getting my videos done, and then there was so much material in this chapter that when I first laid out, the video that I do just highlighting the material, it really was enough for three videos. So I said, okay, I'm gonna make 3 videos, and then I got off on a tangent. I couldn't get it done. So anyway, we're here. Welcome back, everybody. Hello, Venita.
hey. Hey, Venita.
Hi, Venita.
Hi, Randy. I'm still crying. Hi, Randy.
Oh, so let's go on and do our introductions. Last one in, Venita. Let's start with you.
Good evening. My name is Anita Walker. I'm joining tonight's meeting from Cromwell, Connecticut. Glad to have you all here.
Okay, and Kim.
Hi, everybody. Do you hear me?
We do. I do.
Oh, good, good, good. Hi, everybody. I don't know. I feel like I just couldn't get in today. So
Me either.
I've been sick too. I know someone said earlier that you were sick. I was been sick for about a month, and I'm back on my feet. And I'm Kim Brandon. I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Great. You had trouble because you were sick, or trouble getting into the hangout?
I forgot how.
Okay.
I was on YouTube poking around, and then I started poking around someplace else. And I think that, yeah, I think I'm in now. I may have another connection open in another screen, so I'll check and see.
Okay.
But I'm good, thank you.
I think the easiest places are our Facebook page or our community page on Google Plus. And usually the link to the Hangout is the top item, the most recent item on either one of those pages.
Okay.
But yeah, I was just saying how I'm having to relearn. You know, it seems like too. I was telling everybody, Venita, how you and I just kind of fell apart after the last meeting.
It was
bad. Yeah, but we're here. And Randie, you want to introduce yourself again, please? What's the matter?
My speakers.
We lost you.
Can you hear me?
It's going in and out.
I see Kim on the full screen. I've been seeing Kim since I got here. It's actually not on you, Michelle.
I have it on Randie right now.
I only see Kim. I've been watching Kim since I sat down.
I see Michelle.
Okay, I don't know what that is.
I see
That's a new technical.
I don't see
Keep talking, Randie.
You know what? I'm gonna hang up and call back in.
We hear you now.
Do you hear me clear?
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of fading in and out.
I'm gonna hang up and call right back.
Okay. Okay, Gorgette, your introduction.
My name is Gorgette Moses, and I'm watching and participating from Columbia, South Carolina. And I am so glad to see everybody, or almost everybody, back here despite sickness and trials and tribulations. And I'm excited to start this new chapter in in our reading experience.
Yes. Yes. Okay, Randie.
Can you
Say something.
hear me?
It's still kind of low.
I don't know what is it.
What happens if you take off the earphones? That's
Michelle?
worse. Oh, wait. Keep talking.
Is it still working?
No, it's still kind of in and out.
I don't know.
Is anybody hearing Randie better than I am?
Say something else, Randie.
I don't know.
Say the alphabet.
Mm-hmm.
E F G I J K L M N O P R S T U V W X. Can you hear me?
It's in and out.
Yeah, it's in and out.
Let's see.
Huh.
Try one more thing. I wonder if I'm gonna have to restart.
Try that adjust bandwidth thing at the top of your screen. Make sure that's pushed all the way to the right.
It is.
Okay. I don't know.
Can you hear me a little better? Because I hear you a little better.
Yes, that's better.
That's good.
Okay.
Well, go ahead and try doing your introduction, so we'll have that out of the way.
Okay. Everyone, my name is Randie Henderson, as mentioned in our welcome, and I am watching from Atlanta, and I miss everybody very much. I'm excited about this book.
Good. Okay. Did I get everybody? Okay. And I am Michelle Odom. I am here in New York City. I'm one of the co-hosts of the book group, along with Randie Danielle Henderson. And tonight I am facilitating our launch of session 3. So let's go ahead and move through the agenda. Of course, the first thing I want to do is find some more moderators for future weeks. Have you guys made your selections?
No.
Well, you know, Venita, we're expecting you to be the first one to volunteer.
I know you do.
Yeah. So are we putting you down for chapter 1?
Are we on chapter 1?
No, we're on the introduction.
Oh. I read chapter 1.
Me too. I read the introduction and chapter 1.
You all read the introduction and chapter 1?
No.
I thought we were supposed to read that.
What did you read?
The introduction and chapter 1.
Well, good. So you're ready for next week.
Not really, but I'll give it a try. I'll let you know.
Oh, God. A reluctant facilitator.
Well, no, I just don't really, feel good about facilitating. Maybe if I do it a couple times, I'll feel a lot better about it.
Well, yeah. You gotta do it to get used to it. Okay, who's chapter 2? Profitable Wonders. Randie? Whose voice is that? Kim?
Yeah.
Kim for chapter 2. Okay. Chapter 3, Circus Africanus. Is that Randie?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Chapter 3. Chapter 4, The Surgical Theater.
That looks like that. I'm the last one.
That looks like you. And chapter 5, The Restless Dead. I think Joelle should do that one.
Okay, you're gonna volunteer him.
Well, you know how he brought up all that stuff about death when we were reading Alice Walker.
You do have a point. Okay.
All right, so after we get through chapter 5, then we're scheduled for a 1-week mental health break, which I believe we are going to need at that point. And so we can fill in some of the other blanks as we go along. Again, this session 3 is running from January 20th through June 2nd with 2 week-long vacations. And, and I think we're going to need both of them because this is heavy-duty stuff that we are looking at with Harriet Washington. Okay, do we need a timekeeper for tonight?
I don't think we will. I think it'll be short and right to the point. At least it will be for me. I don't really know if we need a timekeeper. I'll keep it though, but I don't think we'll be needing one.
Okay, so let's just bear in mind that we want to try to keep our comments down to around 3 or 4 minutes. If we need to go a little bit over, it's okay, but we just need to all try to be sensitive to the fact that it's hard for everybody to hold attention and therefore to get any benefit out of lengthy comments. Um, you know, which certainly I am one of the worst offenders. Also, just in terms of sounds, I'm so happy tonight to be in a quiet place. Um, you have no idea how hard it is for me to find a quiet place in New York City where I can even hear myself think. But I am in one tonight, so I'm grateful for that. But in terms of sounds, I do want you to keep your mics open so that we can hear whatever uh, reactions you may be having to the material or comments. But if there's a lot of noise in your background, um, then try to mute your mic when you can. The other thing is there anyone here that I know Venita doesn't like to be tagged in the videos, and I think you don't either, Kim. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. But you can always let me know about that. And again, I want to encourage you to share the videos with your social networks. I have actually shared all of the videos over the course of this last 2 months. I'm finally caught up to date, so I don't have any new videos to share except what we start making from here forward. So that's pretty interesting. So our book again is Medical Apartheid, The Dark History of Medical Experimentation on Black Americans from Colonial Times to the Present by Harriet A. Washington. And as I've gotten kind of, the book is broken into 3 parts, and I've gotten through the first 2 parts of it, and as I've been reading, I've been trying to think about, what kinds of questions it evokes for me, what our dialogue around this very difficult subject matter might be like, how we can engage in the dialogue in a way that doesn't lead us into, depression. And also, I think it's a little bit difficult reading, both in terms of the content and the style. She certainly keeps me in the dictionary, so I don't want that to be a barrier for anybody, but she does require that you step up your game to be able to access this material, and I'm not exactly sure who her main target audience is. But, I know we can handle it. But it's not necessarily the kind of material that evokes, I guess because it's so factual. She's giving us a whole lot of facts. And so it doesn't necessarily evoke the kind of imagination or imaginative questions that come out of like what we had with Alice Walker. So I'm thinking that we might be able to, instead of having to go through a whole lot to come up with questions each week, we could just have these kind of what I'm calling suggested standard questions. And if something else occurs to us as if it's our week to facilitate, if other questions occur, then certainly we can go with those questions. But I'm not sure that we should be racking our brain as hard to come up with creative questions as we did last session. So the four sort of standard questions that I think could apply to any chapter that occur to me are: what did you learn from this week's reading selection? How did you feel about what you learned? What did you find most striking about the chapter, and why did it affect you that way? And what ideals do you have on protecting ourselves from medical violence? So how do you guys feel about that? Do you like the idea of standard questions, or you want to try to be creative each week?
I like it. It takes the load off. Yeah.
Well, I think the reading is it's such stressful reading, and quite frankly, I'm not enjoying it. So I can't even fathom after reading chapter 1 that I have the energy left to be creative if I wanted to. To be honest with you, it's very stressful reading. I found, and along with having to have a dictionary or Google's next to you, trying to keep your thought going in the process. I think standard questions will probably work out much better because you will not have the energy when you're done to get creative. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I do think the reading gets easier as you go along. I think in the first couple of chapters, she was trying to show us all the big words she knows.
Chapter 2, if I think about it. Chapter 1, but as I read this, I don't look for creativity from me because I was just tired. So,
yeah. I guess it wasn't a problem for Randie, huh?
The introduction was difficult.
Randie,
Can you hear me?
and you're going in and out. Yeah.
The introduction was difficult for me to get. It was dense, but the first chapter wasn't that.
Yeah.
I can see it getting better. I feel like the first chapter felt like the introduction, but like an interpreted introduction. I don't know. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it gets easier and it gets better as you go along. Kim, have you started reading?
No, and I apologize. I've just been out of it. So
Okay.
I will catch up, and I did download it, so I'm just hoping to kind of catch up. But it was a little depressing, even what little I scanned. So it's like you got to put on your big girl shoes for this one.
Yes, and your big girl panties too. and as I said to Gorgette, it's really you don't want to get too far behind on this one. But if you do get behind, my suggestion would be to read whatever each chapter is discrete. So if you kind of just stay current with whatever the current week's reading is, that's better than trying to go back and catch up from the beginning. That first chapter, the introduction, is really an exhaustive overview of what is going to be covered in more detail in each chapter. So that would be my suggestion, to read the current chapter.
Oh,
Okay, so good. So whoever is facilitating can feel free to just add those 4 standard questions or come up with some more, and not spend a whole lot of time on that aspect of it. The other thing I want to just touch on before we get into the discussion is a little bit of, just to get you thinking a little bit about session 4. So in session 1, we read a very, it was a heavy topic, but but the style of writing wasn't so difficult. But anyway, we read Danielle McGuire's At the Dark End of the Street, primarily dealing with the rape of black women by white men. That was nonfiction. And in session 2, we read the very lighthearted and inspirational We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For by Alice Walker. And now we're back on the dark end of the street with Harriet Washington's Medical Apartheid. And I know that Randie had mentioned wanting us to do some fiction next time around. So the way the books have been selected is, for the first session, I just chose the book because I was by myself, and so me and myself and I had a discussion, and we decided we wanted to read At the Dark End of the Street. But really, I do like the idea of democracy, and I wish I saw it happening more in everyday relationships. And so I wanted us to sort of have a democratic ethic around choosing our books. And so we did vote at the end of session 1, and we tied We Are the Ones and Medical Apartheid. So actually session 2 and session 3 are the result of a democratic process. But I kind of would like to suspend that for session 4 and suggest that Randie start thinking about what she wants us to read, and then maybe after that go back to a democratic process. Any thoughts about that?
Yes.
Everybody else?
You're saying that, Randie, you want to try to read some fiction?
Mm-hmm.
So is that something that people can suggest fiction? Or did
What'd
you
you
have
say?
a book in mind?
No, I actually didn't have a book in mind. So
Well, here's one to think about. Toni Morrison has a new book coming out this year.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it comes out in April or May or something.
Mm-hmm.
So you might want to look at that. But yeah, we can send you suggestions, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. So I would love to hear people, what everyone fiction y'all like, so that if I have to make the executive decision, nobody's mad for a session.
If when you went out, we missed you. What'd you say?
I would love to get everybody's opinion, because I don't want to be stuck with I don't want to be the one everybody when it's time. What y'all like? Then it'll be a good book.
Okay. Venita, any reaction?
Dr. Seuss's Green Eggs and Ham.
No.
It's always a lighthearted romp.
That's my vote. All right. I'll give it some thought, though. But if all else fails, Dr. Seuss's Green Eggs and Ham. After you've done this, you will need Dr. Seuss's Green Eggs and Ham.
Okay.
No, I'll think of something between now and then.
Yeah, we're gonna need something on the light side, Randie. So
Very light.
which Toni Morrison may not be. I mean,
Well, Randy,
Oh
didn't you?
no.
Oh,
I can hear you.
what? Randy, weren't you reading Octavia Butler? You said you.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
I can't hear Randy.
some
Can you hear me?
titles might be.
Randy's kind of going in and out. Yeah.
I don't. I might have to restart my computer.
Yeah. Well, we'll try it. We're just gonna go ahead, and keep moving, but we'll be here.
Okay, I'm gonna restart it right quick.
Okay. Okay. So, okay. So tonight, we're going to focus on the introduction, which is called "The American Janus of Medicine and Race." Janus, I kind of figured it meant beginning, but that's one of the words that I had to go to the dictionary over. And actually, what it means is the Roman god of doors and gateways, hence the beginning. So let's look at the summary. Could someone read the summary up until the point where it says page 19?
Okay, I'll read it. In the introduction, author Harriet A. Washington cracks open the door on the journey she will guide us on, offering glimpses of the people and scenes we will witness behind the deafening silence. She outlines the book as follows. Medical Apartheid consists of 15 chapters organized into 3 parts. Part 1, A Troubling Tradition, takes a chronological approach to the role of African Americans in early American medicine. It stresses the experimental abuse and exploitation of African Americans from the first encounters in the New World through the post-Civil War era and then up until the Tuskegee syphilis study, which began in 1932. Part 2, The Usual Subjects, covers the period from the early 20th century to the present day in a roughly chronological manner. However, it departs from strict chronology in favor of an analysis of specific types of vulnerable subjects, children, soldiers, and hospital patients, used in research conducted by institutions ranging from the federal government to private corporations. Part 3, Race, Technology, and Medicine, examines contemporary research issues, including genetic research, investigations into emerging diseases, and bioterrorism. In the epilogue, Medical Research with Blacks Today, I discuss how the worst abuses have been replaced by more subtle threats to the rights of the individual to choose whether and when to participate in medical research. Finally, the appendix directs readers to a wealth of guidelines and regulations to help them navigate clinical trials. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, I was muted. Sorry. Somebody else? Kim, you want to read the next part to the end of the summary?
No, I don't have the book up, so
Okay.
I'll see if I can get it up before we finish. Get it open.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. The summary is found in the agenda and notes. And there's a link for that on the community page at Google Plus or the Facebook page.
I'm on the Facebook page. Where is it on the Facebook page?
Are you on the event page? It might just be on the event page.
I'm on the event page now. Sorry. It takes so long. Okay, so I'm on the event page.
The Facebook event page?
Yes.
Okay, so if you just scroll down there, you should see the agenda, not too far down. Okay, Venita, do you have your agenda up?
Yeah,
You want to read that next part, please?
sure. Washington Confidential. It's loud. What is that?
I don't know. Keep moving.
The Washington Confidential asserts Black Americans do not need me or anyone else to inoculate a fear of medicine. Medical history and practices have long since done so. Medical apartheid is my attempt to document at long last and as fully as possible how and why this has happened. Washington is not a medical doctor and uses part of this chapter to share her credentials earned in various aspects of the field and how that experience led her to do this work. She also shares the resistance she encountered about writing this book from some doctors. Washington notes that this book is about the African American experience and makes no attempt to document the abuse of Black people by medical research industry around the world. Thus, she opens with a lens on J. Merriam Sims, MD, a surgeon who practiced medicine in the 1800s, and goes on to offer disparate health indicators between Black and whites that persist to this day. Disparate, beg your pardon. While also giving us a view of breadth, and depth of the kinds of abuses we have learned more about in the areas of medical research, and leading us to more comprehensive treatment of specific incidents. Ultimately, she defines medical apartheid this way: the much bewailed racial health gap is not a gap, but a pronounce that word,
Chasm.
wider and deeper than a mass grave. This gulf has riven our nation so dramatically that it appears as if we are considering the health profiles of people in two different countries. A medical apartheid.
Okay, great.
Going on here.
Hmm.
There's something very bad going on here. It's this noise. It's awful. I don't know what it is.
I'm not hearing you.
Feedback when you're talking. Is your mic or something near the speaker or?
No, not. Yeah, it's not coming. It's not from my area. I don't know where it comes from. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm in one of the quietest spaces I've been in, since we started this thing tonight. So, okay. So, point A, key points. Now I don't know how to pronounce this word. Iatrophobia or iatrophobia is the fear of medical professions and institutions. It's coined from the Greek word iatros or healer and phobia, fear. Black iatrophobia is the fear of medicine. Question number 1. Do you have a fear of medicine and or doctors or institutions? And if so, do you know why you have this fear?
Well, I wouldn't say it's quite a fear, but I have caution when I deal with medical professionals. And part of that is because of my mother's influence. She never trusted doctors or hospitals, but she never exactly explained why she didn't. And then when I joined the military, I ran into co-workers and friends who related some kind of interesting stories about their experiences with people in the medical field. And one of them I had a supervisor, and he said this was when he had just come into the military, and he was in the 70s. So he said he got hurt because he was in maintenance, and he went to the clinic, and the military doctor had him down, and they did the perfunctory checks, and then he sat him down, and he said the doctor opened the drawer, pulled out the medical manual, and flipped through it and to diagnose his problem. Okay, now that's one. And then the other anecdote is you hear about doctors who can come into the military for medical malpractice, and that's the military. But they also can just go from state to state and not have their records follow them.
They come into the military with medical malpractice?
Yeah, they can flee some medical because it depends on, and I suspect which service it is, which military service it is, and how badly they need either this specialist in this particular position to fill their numbers. But it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also.
Yeah.
I found myself waiting a long time after I noticed symptoms to really go, even though I have great insurance, and that's another thing. My mom had I finally got a great insurance before she passed away, and she was like, when I would take her to her wellness appointment, she was like, I don't care what they say, they're just trying to run my insurance up because they see how
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, well, maybe not, Mom, but let's just do this. Hard to get over, past experiences and apprehensions you have about people who, and especially when you walk in the door of, the clinic or the hospital, and they have an attitude about you when you come in. That's a real turnoff. If they're not giving good customer service, I don't want to hear what you have to say, and I won't be back. So
yeah.
That's about 2 cents.
Okay. Randy, we're on question 1. Do you have a fear of medicine? I do. I do, and I always have, and it was, I've never really thought it was rational, or I never really knew exactly why. I mean, my grandmother, my mother's mother, far as I know, what I used to hear, never went to a doctor a day in her life. And she lived into her late 90s. But she never talked about why she didn't go to a doctor. My mother was more open about it. She would go to doctors, but she never seemed to put much stock in what they had to say, and she would pick and choose what she wanted, what directions she wanted to follow, and which she didn't. I mean, later in life, I believe doctors killed her, but that's another story. But just in terms of the influence on me, I think it was just it was just that I didn't grow up around a lot of respect for doctors. Even my father was a little wary of them, but they never told stories about why. And so I just kind of, grew up with this kind of side-eye attitude toward them, and just a kind of basic distrust. And I don't know if it's been a self-fulfilling prophecy or or not, but I have had, many negative experiences with doctors, and so my own experiences just, I think, reinforce uh, the inexplicable fear that was already there for me. Venita?
I don't really fear doctors. Not saying that I overly trust them, but I don't actually have a fear of doctors. I try to educate myself so I'm informed when I go to them. If something doesn't feel good, then it's not good. So as Gorgette said, I probably will say, okay, thank you very much, it's been real, and leave. So I don't really have a fear. I think science is great. I really do. Although in the back of my mind, and I think a little less now than maybe when I was raising my children, I always wondered to myself, because we have people that have their own personal feelings about race, religion, and everything else. Racists and people that have evil thoughts, sometimes they're cloaked with smiling faces. I don't know if my pediatrician, which he didn't, mind you, but hypothetically, you don't know if your pediatrician, your primary care physician, your rheumatologist, or anyone has any biases. We're still all human. Just because you have a PhD doesn't mean you don't still have human thoughts. So those things are, to be honest with you, they're back there sometimes. And so I watch very carefully for body language, for all kinds of things. If they move it, if they fart the wrong way, I may have a problem. So no, I'm serious. I mean, I really am serious about that. And that was a serious issue for me, because especially the kid raising my children, because I don't know where your head is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're a physician by day and you're out there with a hood on at night. I don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So for a person of color, I mean, I don't know. That's something that's in the back of my head, and I don't feel guilty about it. No, I don't, because it's there. I mean, it's not as much as it used to be, but when I was raising my children, yeah, those thoughts ran across my mind.
Okay. Anybody else?
I guess I don't know if you call it a fear. It's a lack of trust. And I guess when I was younger, I trust doctors. I believed what they were saying. And now I think that it's more the business of medicine that frightens me, that I'm just a number.
Excuse me, Kim, is your camera on?
I don't think so.
You don't see me?
Your face was there just a minute ago, and just now you just went black.
Why did I go back? I didn't touch anything.
No.
All I see is her avatar. Hello.
I don't even see that. I think we're just having technical issues tonight, which is not unusual.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
is that better? I opened it.
No.
Oh.
But okay, I'm sorry. Keep talking.
Oh.
We can hear you.
Okay, so I don't know what else to do. I'm sure there's some setting that I have wrong.
Well, you were just there. Just before you started talking, we could see you.
Okay.
She's been gone the whole time since I've been on.
Oh, that was just her avatar?
Yeah, she's been gone on my end the whole time.
Oh.
Well, since I pulled back up, since I restarted.
See, I see each of your wonderful faces, so I thought you saw me. Okay,
Well,
I'll play with it when I finish my
Yeah, well, there should be a icon near the top middle of your screen that looks like a little camera. You see that? It's the third one in. If you click on that, let's see what happens.
Turn camera on. It's on.
Well, that at least brought up a little blue person.
It's funny because it brought up
Click
Randie's
on it.
face full screen. What's that? So that says turn it off, and now turn camera off, which indicates that it might be on.
Okay.
Any other suggestions?
No.
You may have to restart too.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, go ahead and finish making your point.
Um, I had this great doctor. He was very holistic, and the two of us were anti-medicine. So he would give me holistic things to do. Then in the last couple of years, something's changed in Beth Israel where he works, and now before I even come in, he's offering me drugs. It
Wow.
just seems like, and he has me on like 10 minutes. 10 minutes is as much as he's going to speak to me. So if I have any type of internal trouble, he's not going to spot it because he's decided that if he multitasks, he can see me and another patient at the same time and get more profit. So I'm just a profit center, and that really, really upsets me. And I'll go in and I'll say, this is wrong, this is what I'm feeling. And then he'll say, there's this drug that we want you to take for something else. And it's just disheartening that the goal is when you walk through that door, how many tests, how many things can we make money off of you from? And then in terms of my history, I didn't know that until my father died, that his mother, who I knew, had syphilis. And she got it from the hospital.
Wow.
So my grandfather got it from the hospital and gave it to her. So when I met her, she was already blind. And mean. So to find out after my father has passed that this is how he lost his father, and he lost his father very early on, and it was something that we never talked about. And my
was he a part of the Tuskegee study?
I don't know. I don't have enough. My sister is trying to put together the story, and it's like pulling teeth to talk to. So we're from North Carolina, and so to talk to people about this is pulling teeth. And my sister is more courageous than I am, but my dad would not go to the hospital for nothing. It was just like he would have to pass out, and you would have to drag him there for him to go. And he had all these jokes. I wish I could think of some. He just had all of these jokes. You come out there and they sew a foot on that don't belong to you. It's just like he just had like.
Well, I'm telling you, by the time you finish reading this book, you're gonna know he was not joking. He was not joking.
Yeah, buddy.
I understand why the folks back in the day did not want to talk about what they had seen and experienced. And my mother was a very closed-lipped kind of person. You couldn't pull a word out of her to save your life. But so I don't know what her stories were. But if they were anything like what I have been reading in this book, then I have to apologize to Loga in heaven, because I wouldn't have been talking about it either. It's some ugly stuff. It really is, and the old folks know it much better than we do. I'm interested in how Randie, as our resident young person, is viewing medicine these days. Are you fearful, Randie?
I'm not fearful about everything. Like, I don't mind going to the doctor for checkups or whatever, but I have a fear of sterilization and the cervical cancer vaccine, HPV. We had to get those 3 shots when I was in high school. My mom still had authority over us because I hadn't turned 18 yet. So I didn't want to get the shots because I don't like needles. But then I found out that it doesn't even focus on the strain that African American women have. So I feel like I got it for like no reason. So, but I do have a fear of sterilization because of this country's long history of sterilizing black women and brown women without consent. And so it's taken me. We were put on birth control pretty soon. Not soon, but like my mom made us promise to tell her when we were ready to have sex. When we were ready to have sex, she put us on birth control, which is fine because we knew that's what it was going to be. But since then, I've been like really anxious. Like, am I going to be able to have babies after this? You know, correlating birth control with sterilization is probably just mental, but it's obviously historical as well. So, but my mom had 3 kids after birth. You know, so like. I think the only reason I'm on it is because I know that she had kids after being on. So that's really it.
Well, I would say a little fear can go a long way. A little dab will do you. Oh, let's see. Thank you. Let's move on. Would someone read point B and question 2, please?
I can do that.
Who said that?
That's Kim, Miss in the Dark.
Okay.
Where the? Okay, here we are. Agenda. And what am I reading?
Point B and question 2.
Alrighty. In the mid-19th century, Dr. Sims dedicated his career to the care and cure of women's disorders and opened the nation's first hospital for women in New York City. Hospital still bears his name, including a West Indian hospital that utilized the what is that?
I think that's eponymous.
Eponymous?
It's similar to anonymous.
Oh, okay. All right. Gynecological instruments that he first invented for surgeries upon black female slaves in the 1840s. How does it feel to know that someone who was so heartless towards black women is, to this day, highly revered in some circles? Do Black Lives Matter?
Yeah. Now, thank you, Venita. Randie, did you said you also read the introduction and first chapter? Okay, so why don't the 3 of us try to catch Kim and Gorgette up a little bit about exactly who this Dr. Sims fellow was. He was quite the character. He would buy black slaves and slave women and addict them to morphine and perform all kinds of vaginal surgeries on them, a lot of times without any kind of drugs or anesthesia, because his basic belief was, we couldn't feel any pain.
They said sometimes the slaves had to hold each other down because the white people who helped him couldn't stomach it.
Yeah. Couldn't stomach the screams and shrieks of the women who were having their genitalia sliced and diced by this man who became a respected and highly sought after gynecologist in his own time. So after he had perfected or gotten good with various surgical techniques by practicing on black women, he was then able to take those techniques and parlay them into a real profitable career helping white women. And so this is why hospitals are named after him and statues erected, and she talks about the example of even a West African hospital bearing his name to this day, because he is known for the advances in gynecology. But so that's who we're talking about. Venita, would you add anything to that description?
No.
Illustrious Dr. Sims.
No, it's just pretty disgusting for me. So.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to fall apart on you, but it just really.
I know it's.
I'm about there are folks that know this before Miss Washington wrote this book, and it's okay. You know, I mean, our country, you know, where we are, folks know these things, even if a lot of folks don't, and it's like it's okay. We'll still reverend this man, you know.
I missed that because my internet just dropped out for a minute. What'd you say, Venita?
No, I just said that, you know, although Miss Washington, Harriet, you know, has written this book to educate folks on these medical torturous procedures that these Dr. Jekylls and Mr. Hyde perform on black people. It amazes me that there are people out there, particularly whites, that I'm sure, and doctors or in the medical field, that know of this man's history, of his past, but still his name is still on hospitals. His name is still revered.
Right.
I mean, any good that he might have done somewhere down the line, I find it hard. Maybe, you know, he did some research and came up with some BS. But still, with the dark side of that, you would think that
it would cut into his reputation just a little bit.
Just a little bit. But that's just not normally how it goes, period, anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just amazed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and, you know, I think another possibility, I mean, Washington even says that at different points in the introduction that you know, you can come out of some of the best schools and museums and scholarly journals and still not have a picture of the depth and breadth of medical experimentation on black bodies.
Wow.
So, you know, a part of it is the bliss of ignorance. But once you start to learn these things, you know, then it's hard. I mean, I guess it's no different than you know, celebrating Christopher Columbus. You know, which I think is pretty disgusting too. But it is what it is. So, so my answer to that question would be, it hurts. It hurts to know that to this day we are not so outraged. You know, I mean, one of the things that Harriet Washington talks about is that when she first started reading about some of these things that were happening, you know, in the early days of the country, the 1800s, early 1900s, she was kind of able to slough it off as, well, you know, they were products of their era, and that's how people that's how they rolled back then. But one of the striking things for me as I started reading this book was when it started to sink in. She's not just dealing with 19th century issues. She's really, through the course of this book, going to bring us up to the present day. And so, in effect, we're not that much safer in the hands of the medical industry than we were in the 1800s, which was not safe at all. And so, it becomes harder and harder to sort of excuse the ignorance of the past when we haven't really made. I mean, we've made significant progress, I guess, or that's what I want to believe. But we still have a long way to go. So I'm not sure that ignorance is okay. Okay, let's go on to point C. I'll read that one. Health disparities are the civil rights issue of the 21st century, said Donna Christian-Christensen, MD, then chair of the Congressional Black Caucus Health Brain Trust. Yet, mounting evidence of the racial health divide confronts us everywhere we look, from double black infant death rates to African American life expectancy that falls years behind whites. Do you see any evidence that the racial health divide is being addressed in any meaningful way? Anybody?
Well, I don't know. I haven't had a lot of family members who have been deathly ill. My grandmother had breast cancer, and she chose not to be treated. And cancer, as everyone knows, does not wait for you. So it just, it ended up consuming her whole body. My grandfather, who was drafted in Vietnam, was actually, they tested some drug on the men during that time, during the boys that were drafted, and he was an orphan, so he was drafted first. He couldn't afford to not be drafted, and he was black. But
was it Agent Orange?
I'm not sure. I have to ask him. I don't want to tell you wrong, but he got it, and it caused him to have prostate cancer, and it was paid for, I guess, as a reparation, and he was able to be treated for it, and they froze it, and they were able to freeze it where it was and take it out. So, as opposed to him not being able to get treated, but he's also a middle class black man, so I'm sure that story would not have been the same had he been poor, so, or had he not gone to the war. So I'm not sure. I'm sure it changes based off of class.
Yeah, to some there's some class benefit. Yeah.
There's a lot of class benefit even today among blacks. I do find it has changed somewhat because we have also made some changes ourselves in prevention of a lot of diseases.
Yes.
Like high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity. So I think the changes have been because now we're educating ourselves more. We're starting to educate the little people, starting from preschool, nursery school, how to have better health, how to exercise, how to eat properly. Because let's face it, a lot of things you can't blame on the lack of medical care. A lot of it is prevention. And anyone who lives in the southern states knows about some of the problems that they're faced with there, such as Georgia, good example. The obesity rate, which comes from also, not proper diet, or should I say eating wrong foods. which in turn causes diabetes and high blood pressure and all kinds of other things. So I think there's advances because we've decided that we are taking control and we are now trying to have better habits to try to prevent some of the diseases that we all know that we are more susceptible to get or to have.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the change I see, not necessarily because of the health society. It's because we're trying to live differently to prevent it, so we don't have to go to doctors as much and be at the mercy of them.
Yeah, well, I guess you and I are probably going to be at odds throughout this reading because I still would say there's some class benefit, but I think it's pushing it to I think it's naive to think that there's a lot of benefit, because one of the things that she is demonstrating. See, this is not a book about whether or not you take good care of yourself and whether or not you do average things to be knowledgeable about, your own health. This is a book about what is done, what has been done, and is being done to us without our knowledge, without our consent, without our being asked to understand the risk that we are exposed to in the name of medical science. And so while it's certainly true that poor people have then and have now more to be concerned about, that's not the whole story. Like, one of the things that I just recently read about in one of the later chapters is the way the whole sickle cell anemia scare played out. I think this was mostly in the 70s. And it really wasn't about class. It really was about color. So I don't want people to have any undue fear. And one thing that Harriet Washington reiterates throughout the book is the necessity of medical research, and that we ought to be trying to find ways to participate in ethical research, particularly around conditions that afflict Black people more than others. But but those ethics have been very, very slippery, and so I don't want any of us to have an unreasonable fear, but I also don't want us to have an unreasonable innocence or naivete, because I think if we're going to figure out how to protect ourselves, we're going to have to be honest about the very real threat that is there for all of us. Which really is kind of this last question, which is, but historically, most perpetrators of ethically troubling experiments utilizing African Americans have been overachieving adepts with sterling reputations, impressive credentials, and social skills sufficient to secure positions of great responsibility. And so my question was, is this surprising? Why or why not? But I think that is just the thing, that you know, we may feel some protection because we're going to a doctor with the best credentials, you know, who graduated from the best schools, who is practicing at the best institutions. And so we may feel a false sense of security because of those external identifiers. But what she is saying to us is it is those very doctors and it is those very institutions that we are most likely to put our most trust in that have been the perpetrators of, you know, just some of the most dastardly deeds imaginable. So, you know, I'm going to say it, you know, I'm going to say it every week. I'm going to say it over and over. I don't want us to be unnecessarily fearful, but I also don't want us to be, you know, too naive about what's going on here, because it's difficult. It's difficult to believe that some of these things have happened and are happening. And so I believe our instinct is going to be to try to clean it up, to make it nicer, to tell ourselves that, oh, you know, that's what happened 100 years ago, but we're not there anymore. But I'm going to stick with Harriet Washington, who is telling us we are still there. You know, we may not still be there to the same degree, but we're still there. I mean, one of the last points was about the difference in our lifespans. You know, just every category, and that's what she goes into in quite a bit of detail in the introduction. But just every category of health you can imagine, we are doing dramatically poorer than white people. And yes, some of it has to do with our own behavior, but some of it also has to do with what is being done to us, like not getting the access to the most beneficial medicines and technology. You know, that's what's happening current day. Whether you're knowledgeable or not, whether you are middle class or high class or not, you know, we're not controlling the whole scene here. So we need to bear that in mind. That was too long, I know. I'm sorry. And it is 2 minutes before 8. I'm going to say that we skip the optional standard questions, and I will ask if anyone has any way that we can end tonight's session on a lighter note. Randie?
Why me? Oh, yes, I have this really. I was on Tumblr, right? And this little cute baby. My mom thinks I have baby fever, but I disagree.
Uh-oh.
I don't believe so. I just think I know cuteness. So they were saying how black.
Oh, you're going out. I can't hear you.
You're muted. Your avatar says you're muted.
Let me see.
It's off now.
I didn't press anything. They were talking.
You're muted again.
Maybe when I leave. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it happens when I switch screens.
Okay.
I was trying to bring up a screen. I don't know how to put this in our maybe. Isn't there a place where we can put comments or chat? Yeah. Let me see.
Well, there's supposed to be, but I don't have it opened. Maybe you, I don't know. You know more than I do. I don't know.
Tell me if y'all get this. It's so cute.
Oh, wow. Wait a minute, wait a minute. I got the link. Oh, Love and the Randomly Real Thing.
Oh,
Are y'all watching it? I don't know if y'all can hear. It's so cute. How parents
Yeah.
exaggerate
You thought I
it.
tried to match down to the box spring, breaking neck to the white meat shows. Don't send up on that bill if you fall down inside the match down to the box spring, breaking neck to the white meat shows.
sounds cute.
It's so true. I thought it was so funny because it is so true. I thought it was so
I'm wondering if I could read Invictus.
Please do.
Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced or cried aloud. Under the bludgeoning of chance, my head is bloodied but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horrors of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Thank you. I love that. I love that poem. I know that was one of Mandela's inspirations during his prison years, and it's a great way to bring tonight to a close. So I thank you, courageous women, for showing up, for what I know is going to be a heavy session. And Venita and I have talked about really who the audience is that Harriet Washington is targeting in this book, and I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure that she is writing to or for the average person, but I think that what is going to happen is courageous people like us are going to take the material and make it more accessible to a wider audience. One of the things she talks about is the value of the oral tradition in the Black community, and how the oral tradition is what has preserved our collective memory of what some of our most horrific experiences have been in the medical system. And even as those oral memories have been dismissed, we know, just like in our individual lives, when I start telling people some of the things I've been through, they can't believe it, and I understand why you can't believe it, but I know what I've seen, and I know where I've been, and whether you believe it or not is not even an issue for me. And so it is our oral tradition that has preserved those memories. One of the things she talks about in this chapter is the arrogance with which medical professionals have documented the abuse of Black people, which started out during an era when we were legally forbidden from reading, and so they were real sure that we weren't going to get a hold of that, and it's written in medical leads, in the medical journals, and it's just information that's not necessarily easily accessible by average people. And so she did an extensive amount of research to bring this information to us in I think as most accessible way as she could. But we're going to take it another step. We're going to be courageous enough to embrace what she has done and to put it into language that even more people can understand and benefit from, and develop the tools needed. I mean, this is really about learning how to protect yourself in the medical system, you know, and not being blind about the risk. So I thank you all for your courage and your insight, and I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday reading our story together.
Good night. Good night.
Good night. Thank
Good
you.
night. Good night.
Have a good week.
You too.